Assumptions, even right now, difficult to make assumptions for a longer period because of the associated uncertainty. But we can make assumptions is that we know actual what has happened so far. And from this point, what is the likelihood or probability of changing it this month and next month? So that's what we have done here. Then this is the outcome.
Speaking broadly about inflation and reserve buffers, he offered these views.
In terms of inflation, we have good space for us to absorb this external shock to the inflation because this advantage of running low inflation compared to target. So that's one point. Other point also in terms of reserve buffer compared to where we were during the last couple of years. We were in the highest position, 7.3 billion end of February. This is also a better position. It has created some space for us to absorb this kind of external shock for a period. This prevail a long period, that's still uncertain. But right now we are in a better position compared to reserves and the inflation. And also we don't see any risk to financial system stability. Banking sector, finance sector, we haven't seen any significant impact even with current volatilities in the markets on the energy prices. Right now, I don't think anyone can predict what will happen, but we have seen some escalation of things. For example, petroleum obviously very volatile. There's this highest peak and that has gradually settling down, but at a higher level.
The governor was also confident that no curtailments are required yet on outflows.
Right now, from our point of view, we don't see any requirement or we don't make any suggestions to restrict capital flows, the imports, remittances, or even outflows. There are no restrictions. We maintain all the what we have relaxed so far, those will prevail. And the adjustment in prices will certainly take care of adjustment in demand. That's how we see.
As per the central bank chief, there is no danger of a slowdown in inflows either.
Obviously, as a decline in tourism, arrivals are slow by 17% so far. Remittances is almost as same as even a little higher, but this kind of situation we see people are sending a little more money for people who are living here. They have not seen that. But going forward, and also we have to see what are the early indicators. Whether we see the people are coming back. We have not seen any, even from our diplomatic missions. There are no encouragement at all for people to come back. So still they are probably working. There may be some unemployment, but still there's no signs of people coming back in the remittances.
The matter of an IMF mission arriving in the country from tomorrow until the 9th of next month to complete the combined 5th and 6th reviews of the country's Extended Fund Facility program was also broached. Dr. Veerasinghe noted that more significant changes could be expected this time around.
IMF mission is there, they will be here to discuss the new situation. And the objective of next mission is to reach a survey agreement for the completion of 2 reviews together. When situation changes in outlook is different, then we have to discuss what are the new policies, what are the new targets. That will have to be discussed during the mission. Even if you compare number of 4 reviews already completed, review after review, there have been changes to the conditions, changing to the circumstances. That will continue to happen. This time changes may be significant than last several reviews because this time is a significant shock.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
Long queues at filling stations across the country show signs of easing, yet many stations remain closed due to a total lack of stock. Farmers and fishermen report significant difficulties obtaining fuel quotas, even as the government implements a rationing system based on vehicle registration numbers. While the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation expects 3 tankers to arrive within days, the agricultural sectors express urgent concern over the upcoming yellow planting season. Farmers in regions like Ampara claim a lack of clear distribution methods for essential urea fertilizer despite government assurances. Agricultural officials maintain that supplies will reach cultivation centers soon, following high-level meetings to manage imports and address the growing rural distress. Retired Major General Suresh Salem remained under medical care at the Colombo National Hospital following a sudden illness. The former State Intelligence Service chief, currently held by the Criminal Investigation Department under a 90-day detention order, faces questioning regarding the Easter Sunday terror attacks. Colombo Fort magistrate inspected the suspect's condition yesterday before authorizing a medical transfer based on doctor recommendations. Hospital sources confirm Saleh receives treatment within the ear, nose and throat unit. The Tangol Zonal Education Office issued a formal inquiry to school principals regarding the low attendance of teachers at a recent meeting with Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya. Despite an official notice for all staff to attend the session on school grievances last Friday, only a limited number of educators appeared at the Tangol Town Hall. Zonal Director WASD Kalyani now requires written explanations for these absences by tomorrow. However, Ceylon Teachers Union General Secretary Joseph Stalin rejects the demand, stating at a Colombo press briefing that teachers and principals bear no obligation to provide such justifications.
Now for some news in brief.
The heat index is expected to reach caution level tomorrow across parts of western, Sabaragamuwa, southern and northwestern provinces, along with Anuradhapuram, Manam, Vaunia and Monaragala districts.
The business news on Gold FM.
The all-share price index of the Colombo Stock Exchange gained 797.62 points to close at 21,868.85 today. The S&P SL 20 index also gained 225 points to close at 6,134.23. Total market turnover was 6.4 billion rupees. Brent crude futures traded down 5.61% to $98.63 as hope for a diplomatic breakthrough in West Asia grows. WTI crude fell to $87.33, marking a 5.44% drop in value. Gold prices in the local market have risen compared to yesterday's rates. The price of a 24-carat gold sovereign has increased by 8,000 rupees, climbing to 393,000 rupees today. Similarly, the price of a 22-carat gold sovereign, which stood at 354,200 rupees yesterday, is now trading at 361,500 rupees.
International news on Gold FM.
Negotiations to end the month-long conflict between the United States, Israel and Iran remain uncertain, despite reports of a detailed 15-point peace proposal. US President Donald Trump said Tehran appears eager to reach an agreement, adding that his administration is engaging with the right people. The proposal reportedly calls for the complete dismantling of Iran's nuclear facilities in Natanz, Isfahan and Fordo, along with the disbandment of Iranian-backed proxy forces across the region. According to Pakistani officials, Iran has received the proposal, which includes provisions for sanctions relief, civilian nuclear cooperation, limits on missile development, and international monitoring by the International Atomic Energy Agency. Turkey is reportedly mediating between Washington and Tehran, although Iranian authorities have denied that any formal talks are underway. Despite this, Rafael Grossi, head of the IAEA, said high-level negotiations are expected to take place in Islamabad this weekend. He described the anticipated discussions as broader than previous efforts, with missile programs, regional militias, and security guarantees for Iran included for the first time. This comes as Iranian military officials dismissed the reports, accusing Washington of negotiating with itself. In Israel, Nir Barkat said Iran is unlikely to accept the proposal, calling it beautiful on paper but unrealistic. Under the proposed deal, the United States would lift sanctions and support a civilian nuclear project in Bushehr. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz approved a new list of targets across Iran. The Israeli Air Force said it has dropped more than 15,000 bombs since the conflict began, including strikes on an underwater research facility in Isfahan and missile production sites in Tehran. Iran tightened control over the Strait of Hormuz, warning that only non-hostile vessels coordinating with its authorities will be allowed to pass. The move has disrupted nearly one-fifth of global oil and LNG shipments, significantly reducing tanker traffic. One Pakistan-bound vessel was reportedly turned back for failing to obtain transit authorization. The conflict's impact is being felt across the wider region. Drones have struck fuel depots at Kuwait International Airport, while Saudi Arabia reports intercepting ballistic missiles over residential areas. Former Defense Secretary Leon Panetta says the US and Israel may have been naive in their initial strategy against Iran. Speaking with Piers Morgan, the former CIA director suggests that the assumption of a quick regime collapse has hit a harsh reality.
I do believe that when Israel came to the president with the idea that they had intelligence on where the supreme leader was located and that they could ultimately destroy their key leadership, and that would ultimately allow the protesters to take to the streets and would bring down the regime. I think that was frankly something that Israel and President Trump probably thought could happen. I think it was a little naive because the intelligence indicated that the regime was much more entrenched than that, but nevertheless they thought that could produce a very quick result and that the war could end quickly. I think that was a miscalculation on the part of both Israel and the United States.
But any calculation about attacking Iran in the way that the United States and Israel ended up doing, it must have automatically factored in something going on with the Straits of Hormuz, because that would be the most obvious, it seems to me, way that Iran might retaliate would be economically, because they can't compete that effectively militarily. And I would thought it would be reasonably obvious that they may also attack some of their Gulf state neighbors in the way that they have done, oil refineries and so on, if their own refineries came under attack. None of this seems to me to be exactly rocket science, and yet the administrations of both countries appear to have been taken a bit by surprise, or have they?
No, I think one of the concerns is that there wasn't a lot of time kind of considering the consequences of what could happen when you attack Iran. We had looked at the potential of some kind of conflict with Iran, and it was very clear to all of us that one of the first things that Iran would do is close the Straits of Hormuz. It's an obvious result. It's easy to close, and it can impact on oil prices and creates a tremendous amount of pressure on whoever's attacking Iran. What concerns me is I think they really didn't focus on that as a very real consequence. They seemed ill prepared to deal with it rather than having a plan of how you would maintain the straits to be open.
Entertainment news on Gold FM.
Europe's audiovisual sector generated $164.7 billion in revenues in 2024, with consumer spending via streaming, pay TV, cinema and home video accounting for more than half at $83.5 billion, according to the European Audiovisual Observatory's Key Trends 2026 report. European film production also hit a record high of 2,523 feature films across 36 markets, marking continued growth since the pandemic.
Sports news on Gold FM.
New Zealand football players stated that they are willing to play Iran outside the United States if necessary, as uncertainty surrounds their 15th of June opener in Los Angeles amid geopolitical tensions. Iran, who have threatened to boycott fixtures on US soil following the US-Israeli conflict, are also scheduled to face Belgium in Los Angeles and Egypt in Seattle. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum stated her country would be open to hosting Iran's fixtures, though any venue switch would ultimately be FIFA's decision. That's it for the news. I'm Atik Rumi. Have a great evening.